What is up, guys? This is Max Cub 4, and today I am bringing you an infantry guide to Gates of Hell. So we're going to start off with ranges of infantry, and then we're going to move on from there. So all infantry from the factions are pretty much generic with their weapons. They all have roughly the same ranges. We're using Germans as a baseline. First off, we have the flamethrower. The flamethrower has roughly a range of 30 to 40 meters, depending on the faction. This German one has a range of 30 meters. And let's go ahead and move to the second weapon. Second weapon, we have the medic equipped with a pistol. This thing is going to have actually surprisingly longer range than you think. It has a range of 70 meters. Not very effective at that range, but it can reach out to that, which is pretty crazy. SMGs, they reach out just a little bit further. They reach out to just about 80 meters. So these guys are going to be a lot better up close, of course. So next you have your semi-auto rifle and your normal rifle. Both of these guys actually have a range of 120. So that is the range of the rifles. Let's see. I'm going to move him back a little bit. But as you can see, going into the distance, he cannot reach that, but semi-automatic, and then the same for the single shot. As you can see, these weapons can hit further, but obviously, if what you're aiming at is only going to be roughly 120 away for both these riflemen. Alright, moving on to the machine gun crew. Next we have the good old machine gun crew. This is the MG42, and all machine guns have a range of 120. Doesn't matter if you guys are using old machine guns or you're using the MG42. Looks like friendly fire. MG support just got taken out. But as you can see, MG42, good rate of fire. Let's go ahead and bring the medic over there, help that guy out. Alright, moving on. Next we have the officer. You might be wondering why he is towards the end, but he's actually towards the end because he's got binos. So binos actually have a range of 200 meters if you guys were not aware. You have to get a straight line shot to actually be able to get that 200 meters mark, but he does have 200 meters. If you can get him on a hill or whatnot, then he can see generally pretty far. Right now he's getting blocked by the building, so he's only getting like 170, but 174 right here. But 200 meters is best position that you can get. He's gonna be able to get 200 meters. Next, we're going to be moving on to our anti-tank weapons. So for the both the Germans and the United States, they have the good old anti-tank grenade. See this guy? He's got an anti-tank grenade. This guy is their light anti-tank, and he comes in pretty cheap, especially now. These used to be a lot more expensive before. But the anti-tank grenade is going to have a good old range of, let me see, 60 meters. So 60 meters is your anti-tank range. It's a little bit inaccurate at this range, just be careful. Moving on to the anti-tank team that both the Germans and the Soviets have. They have the anti-tank team, which comes with the one guy carrying a Panzerfaust 60, which you would think this has 60 meters range, but no, it has a 40 meter range. As you can see, it overshot a little bit, but has generally 40 range. That goes for both the Soviet and the German ones because they're both using the same one. They're just captured. Next we have the Panzerschreck, but this also represents the bazooka. And this thing has a range of 70 meters. So you can get this in a bush and you can kill tanks from decent ways away. This one has a great tank killing potential, and that as well as a bazooka. So make sure you guys are using these to their max effective, because these things can take out tanks pretty easily. Last but not least, we have our good old sniper. So snipers, they aim better because they have the scope and they have longer range. Only slightly longer range, but they have longer range than rifles. As you can see, 130 is going to be your range for your sniper. So this thing is way more accurate, and he can take out guys for about 10 meters further away. So just make sure you're using that that buffer, so that way your sniper's not getting killed by normal riflemen. All right. Moving on to anti-tank rifles. Alright guys, so your Soviets and your Finnish are going to be lacking the anti-tank grenades. In replacement of these, they're going to have anti-tank rifles. Now these, I believe, are the superior option because they have a range of up to 120, as you can see. So they can be engaging light vehicles from a lot longer away. As soon as they're in rifle range of your infantry, these things are going to be able to start tearing them up. Because these things are awesome, and little anti-tank rifles are great for taking out light vehicles, and make sure you use them for that. Now, in addition to those weapons that we've mentioned, anti-tank rifles, we also have some special guns. So the first one's going to be for the Germans, and then we have one for the Americans as well. So first we have the FG-42, which is arguably one of the best weapons, or the best weapon in Call to Arms, because it fires just like a freaking SMG, but it has a range of 120. If you can get this guy to see it. But this thing has a range of 120. Pretty amazing for a a light machine gun, but yeah, this thing can engage riflemen for just as far away as it is. It can do some effective damage. It's pretty accurate as well. Next, we have the SGG-44. This thing has a range of only 100, but it's a mix between, as you can see, 100 right there. Mix between the SMG and the rifle. It's still a very effective weapon because it has a high rate of fire, and it can reach out and touch things pretty easily. So the Panzerfaust also have their own versions. So there's 3 versions of the Panzerfaust that I'm tracking. We have the Panzerfaust 30, Panzerfaust 60, and Panzerfaust 100. The Panzerfaust 100 actually has the longest range, and it has a range of just under 50. So 50 versus the common issue one is the Panzerfaust 60, which they have, and it's 40 range, and then the Panzerfaust 30 only has 30 range. That's given to the defensive doctrine on the Germans. Alrighty guys, moving on to the American special weapon. The special weapon for the Americans is the M1 carbine. So this is a light rifle, light airborne jumpable rifle, so it's going to have a lower range and a little bit less power. So as you can see, it only has a range of just at 100. So this thing's got a little bit lower range than your average rifleman, but it makes up for it in a quick fire rate. So just keep that in mind, that it just has a little bit lower range. There's usually only one of these per squad. It's usually like a squad leader or something. So nothing too crazy to be worried about. Just a little fancy weapon. Alrighty guys, so moving into grenades. So I got my right mouse button up for grenades. So your longest range grenade is going to be the stick grenade. Now this thing can be thrown anywhere from 25 to 28 meters away. So this is the most effective grenade. This one and the Soviet version of the stick grenade are the longest throwing grenades. Pretty amazing. As you can see, they can reach up to 30 if you have a smoke one. Normal smokes will be only thrown 20 to 23 meters, and this one can go all the way up to 30 meters. Anti-tank grenades, as you can see, anti-tank grenades and regular grenades are only going to have a range of 20 to 23. That's a bundle goes for the bundle grenade, and other anti-tank grenades as well, like impact ones like you see he's throwing here. And so the German knife, you can actually throw that 31 meters. Did not know that. Learn something new every day. That's Foshenjägers. What's it called? That is Brandenburgers. They have the throwing knife as well. Keep that in mind. So once again, continuing on to grenades, we have the satchel charge, which only has a range of around 7 meters. So just keep that in mind that this thing is super short range. And you can also time the charge, so that way you're not waiting all that time for some vehicle to get away. In addition, we have the Molotov cocktail. Some of these Molotovs have shorter range, but generally the range is somewhere between 15 and 18, because they're not as easy to throw, I guess. But they can be good for igniting houses and whatnot, and taking out enemies that are unsuspecting, but not as long range as the Soviet stick grenade or the German stick grenade. Just keep in mind, pineapple grenades are going to be having only 20 to 23 range, while stick grenades have 25 to 28. Another thing to keep in mind is artillery signalers will have a range of 70 meters, so they'll be able to range a decent amount. Alright guys, now we're going to go into how to effectively use your infantry. Alright, so first of all, we're going to start with the basic bitches, the riflemen. So your riflemen, you basically don't, these are cheaper infantry, you want them to fill the lines and be your cannon fodder that can die pretty easily. Semi-automatic rifles cost a little bit more. I personally don't like getting them. If you're playing the Americans, that's all you'll have to be able to get, but they're a little bit more expensive, and I don't want to lose them as much, and I just don't get them myself unless I'm playing as Americans. Then you have no other choice. But riflemen are pretty much your guys to watch areas in the line. You guys just take pot shots and keep the enemy under fire. It's good to keep them a little further back, give them good sight lines where they can see. They'll just be firing away at the enemy. They're not going to go through their ammo very quickly. Very good unit to dig in on the end of the point. so they can just slowly fire at the enemy, especially if you have a point in the open. Just dig them in, and they'll be a lot harder to kill. But riflemen are the foundation of your infantry squads. Say I call in this guard recon squad. Notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Over half the squad is going to be, half the squad is going to be riflemen, and your starter squads. Let's see, veteran partisan squads. Looks like over half of it is rifles. So just be aware that rifles are going to be very prevalent, and just be aware they'll usually carry a grenade or two. Depends on them. Sometimes anti-tank grenade, but just use them as your baseline. Alright, moving to the next one, SMGs. I really like using SMGs. Pay attention to how my SMGs set up here. I have this one guy, he's the most vulnerable one. He's going to be my assaulting guy. So if I have to push up, attack with grenades, or assault with grenades, I'm going to use him. He's my guy to assault with grenades or get in the front lines. In addition, I'm also going to be having these guys back here. As you can see, I have people here, there. These guys are strategically positioned. So I have this guy around the wall. Anybody's running here, he's gonna get suppressed. Anybody comes past this guy in the opening, he's gonna get killed. Same as goes with this guy. Anybody pushes past into this opening, they're gonna get killed. Because a lot of times when enemy infantry are moving up, they're not gonna be worried about trying to immediately kill something. So I like to hide these guys behind a building, and they'll immediately kill something. Or if you push them in initially into the point, then they can kill pretty easily. Another sneaky thing is to hide. See where this guy's hiding? He's hiding. I see a squad pushing here. They get him back here. I could even have him hold fire, and then you can have him get a cheeky grenade in, and you just have a say somehow he snuck up behind a squad, and then bam, you can get a cheeky grenade in there, and get a squad wipe if he's not paying attention. All right, moving on to the next one is your LMGs. LMGs are very important. I like to have them in a covered position with lots of good fields of fire into the objective. Like this has got this open road right here. Good fields of fire. A little far forward, but I like to have them back a little bit, but it's good field of fire. I like to keep them supporting my troops. You guys got to have good fields of fire and good areas of suppression. And as far as ranking goes, the Germans probably have the best one, and the Americans, the bar, probably have the worst one, just so you guys know. Keeping the train going, we have anti-tank rifles. So these guys are going to be your light anti-tank. You might want to bring one of these in early game, especially if you're facing the Soviets, because they'll have a light vehicle. If you're Germans, obviously you have to have an anti-tank grenade launcher, excuse me, for anti-tank nades. And these guys are going to be your light anti-tank. Keep them on the hold fire if they're not firing, and you can even keep them down in the prone. But these guys are often good to direct control if you want to be able to take out the enemy's vehicle. Otherwise, they're kind of just going to shoot all over. You want to usually aim to either kill the gunner or you want to kill the driver or take out the engine dump, especially for light vehicles. So make sure you guys have these kind of far behind the baseline of troops, but enough to affect the outcome. Next, we have the 18th detachment. Comes in a two-man squad. I like to split them up personally. See, I've thrown this guy in a building. He's going to stay there on do not fire until like a light vehicle tries to rush in here, and he'll be able to take them out. Another area, maybe not as close as this, but I'd have the actual Panzerschreck hiding in a bush. A lot of times I'll have the enemy, say I put them in a bush over here. The enemy pushes in, they take this. They've had it under control for quite some time. Then they have a T-34 pushing up to my other point over here. Take it out, one shot with the Panzerschreck. These are another things that you probably want to direct control, because they can have very bad choice of what they're actually going to shoot, so make sure you have direct control of these guys in those situations. If it's a fast-moving vehicle, then you might not want to consider something else, but otherwise, you want to go with this. Next, we have what I consider the frontline troops as well. What you want to build is flamethrowers. These guys are really good in especially urban areas like this, but you want to do first, you don't want to just push them in. You want to use your guys to smoke it out. So you guys want to smoke them out, so this way, ideally you still have someone having sightlines for you, and then you want to push him in like this. He has smoke. He's most likely not going to get killed. You have a bunch of infantry hiding back there. You can go ahead and burn all these buildings. All these buildings are going to catch on fire. Watch this guy. He's getting in a danger zone. But all these buildings are going to catch on fire now, and that's going to stop the enemy from being able to use this as cover, and it's going to make it a big, barren, open land. So make sure you use smoke when you're using your flamethrowers so they don't get killed as often. They still will get killed, especially if there's enemies to the flank that can see them, but it'll make it a lot harder for them to push into it. And if the enemy tries to push into it with your flamethrower, then they're just going to die. last main infantry that we have is the good old sniper back here. So sniper is hanging back. He's going to be taking pot shots of. So infantry start to push up here. Just it's we got the main line back here providing support by fire, but then the SMGs of them are starting to push in. They're starting to run in, take cover. And right here, say they're facing right here around this tree and whatnot, then this guy's going to be able to start picking them off. They're going to be engaging their firefight, and as the firefight's going on, you don't want this guy to be the, the only one firing ideally, but he's in the background just taking out guys left and right. Very effective at that, especially if it turns into static warfare. Um, medics don't ever usually get them in multiplayer. They kind of seem like a waste of manpower to me. It's not worth the micro of clicking to um, clicking to heal someone, so I wouldn't worry about that. AP miners, anti-tank miners, they can actually be effective. So anti-personnel miners, as you can see, I got one of them, created a flank here that was secured. You can run over your own mines and won't get blown up, so that's not a concern. But you can create like little areas where they can't flank. It can be really useful. A lot of people don't use it, but it can be very useful in games. Same thing with anti-tank miners. I can mine this road. Ideally, it'd probably be anti-tank mining here, and then some armor-piercing mines. Anti-personnel mines through here, and they can really stop the enemy. And you can really just put a few infantry over here, and all those mines will be able to stop like a whole squad or two. Engineers are also really good because they can build in trenches like this. They can build emplacements for your mortars, guns, or tanks, and they can also build hedgehogs, which are anti-tank traps, and barbed wire and sandbags. They can be effective for building a defensive position like this, but unless you're winning, I wouldn't really invest too much in them. Obviously, Commissar, you're gonna need him because he, as you can watch my CP, he drops it by 25. So every one of these guys you have is just gonna be keep dropping it. You can only get 2 in most games unless you're playing as Finland. Special doctrine. But just keep that in mind. You want to keep those guys alive because you only have 2, and I'm pretty sure you can't spawn them in after you get 2. Last but not least, we have tank crew. As you can see, these guys, where'd my tank crew go? We'll just call it a new one. But these guys are very effective because they repair vehicles a lot quicker. It's very effective to call one in and recrew guns as well because these guys only have pistols. As you can see, they do not cost that much, 27, and you get all these guys. Good for recrewing weapons, and they repair faster. So go ahead and use them to repair and to recrew weapons that you need. But pay attention to these tips and make sure you guys orient your infantry like this. Hope this helps you out in multiplayer. Leave a like if it helped you. Subscribe if you want to see more, and goodbye.